Hi and welcome to this video explaining to you how you should work as a construction surveyor at a digitized job site, since it is a bit different from what you're used to. But don't you worry, it will all be explained to you in this video. Anders Forsell, support engineer here at Leica Geosystems. How would you describe working as a construction surveyor at a site where 3D machine control has been implemented on the machines?
Well, first of all, the workflow will be with the possibility to always have the latest updated designs, both on your field controllers as a surveyor, but also directly into the machines. So some of the workflows you used to do previously will be slightly changed.
And the big difference is that the operator now has more or less the same information that you as a surveyor has.
Correct. So everything that I can see on the design that I'm preparing will also be available for the machine operator at any time. So I, as a surveyor, don't have to be there at the same time as he's grading or working or checking what he's doing, because the operator will actually have basically the surveyor in his back pocket when he's working.
It could also mean that you as a surveyor will have less travel time and maybe be able to help more job site or more work places at the job site simultaneously.
Yep, correct. Since everything is connected, I have a possibility to let's say upload the latest versions to any site anywhere. So me as a surveyor, I can basically run more than one site at a time simultaneously, because they are not so depending on me being on site.
That sounds really great, Anders. Could you put a few words on how the routines are as a construction surveyor at a site where this machine control has been implemented?
Yeah, first of all, your rover is still your friend. So you will still use a rover to check everything that's been done, and you can also do preparations with it. But you can most likely get rid of some of your friends. Not all of them, however, but there will be a very, very reduced need for the stakeout, since the machine operator will have the whole design in his panel readily available whenever he needs it. Also, there's a change in the planning, because the supervisor can also be much easier on a plan B, since you don't have to prepare the surveyor to go over to the next area to prepare the next day work. Because if you need to move the machine, the design is already in there.
Let's talk a little bit about this rover, since you say this is the best friend for a construction surveyor. What is the exact thing that we do as a construction surveyor with a rover like this?
Well, what I do with my rover is that I prepare the data. I upload my design data to the rover. I basically use the pegs to stake everything out. So I'm doing marking on the ground, and when the job is done, I go back again and check the surface again to make sure that everything is in place. I can also do measuring for the as-built to collect the data, so I can then organize the designs to be handed back to the owner of the project. Now with machine control, however, some of these measurement exercises can actually be done with the machine instead. So I can actually avoid to go to dangerous locations, because you can do measurements with the excavator instead, for example, which will end up with the same kind of data that I would have received on my rover, but less people on the site will also mean more security and more safety on the site, because the data in the background will still be prepared in the office to create the as-built information.
So actually the operator is capable of collecting the as-built data himself with the machine?
Yes, correct.
So in order to be really efficient, all the operators need to have a digitized model. They need to have a 3D model.
Yep.
What is the procedure of this model, and what is important with the model? And especially for you as a construction surveyor, what is important for you to think about in regards to this model?
I need to think that the machine operator, he's not a surveyor. So the way I see the design is not really the same way as he does. So when the design arrives and I do the data prep for myself to be able to run it on my rover to do ordinary stakeout, I also do some kind of design prep for the machine operators. And most likely he wants to have less information on the screen as I do on my tablet, because he doesn't want to make the judgment what lines to follow and so. So to simplify the designs is a very, very important step in the preparation for the machine data.
So for you as a construction surveyor, it's very important that you understand the exact way the operator uses the model in order to prepare the model for him.
Yeah, that's correct. And there's also a very, very tight cooperation between me as a site surveyor and the machine operator, because I need to make sure that he understands the design. since he's actually doing some of the work I should have done elsewise.
So it's very important that it's always done correctly.
Yeah, it is. It is, and also important for me to know how he thinks, so I can actually prepare the data in a way so he understands what it is.
Also, I understand that a very crucial part of working with 3D machine control is that the machine knows the exact position of where it is. So we need to bench the machine every day. What is your role when benching machine? What is it that you need to take care of to to ensure that the operators are able to bench the machine?
To bench the machine, we need to. I mean, what we do when we're benching the machine is that we actually make sure that the coordinates of the bucket or the blade is corresponding to the coordinates on that particular point. So actually, my pegs come in handy again, because I need to mark out locations on the ground quite close to the machine. So anytime if the operator becomes, let's say, unsure if he's right, he should be able to put his bucket down on one of these known points or the control points and check his coordinates. And the coordinates has to match the points that I staked out. That's his verification.
And finally, as a construction surveyor, you're also a bit responsible of setting up the job site. What is important to consider when setting up the job site in order to make the operators be able to work as efficiently and safely as possible?
Well, there are quite many steps to go through there. I think it's better if we take that maybe in another video. But of course, the way I work as a surveyor, making sure I got clear sky visibility for my GNSS or good visualization, an optical sight between my total station and the machine, for example, that is definitely things that needs to be taken in consideration. But also radio communication on the site. Making sure that if I have Connex, for example, I want to set up my project in Connex, so all of that is working and to make my life easier.
And also, I'm guessing you need to understand the workflow at a job site. You need to make sure that all the different processes can be carried out simultaneously, and where the different trucks are coming in and stuff like that, to have a sort of a vision of how an ideal life should be carried out at this job site.
Yes, of course. And I mean, a close cooperation with the foremen is still very, very important, even though, as we said so many times now, the design is already in the machine, but we need to make sure that you also got the different other assets to make this workflow efficient.
Is it easier working with machine control, or is it would it be easier without it?
I would say it's easier, but at the same time you really make sure that you check your coordinates once in a while, because you can work I mean, it's quite fast to work in a wrong elevation if you don't check it, and there will be a lot of material that can be moved without you even notice that it was actually wrong.
But seen from a construction surveyor's point of view, what is the big benefit of having a 3D machine control implemented on a job site?
I see the benefit in that I can be more prepared. There's not really so many emergency run-outs to stake new pegs that have been destroyed or disappeared. Let's say when the foreman is replanning something that was unplanned turned up, we can just call the machine and he can go over there immediately because he got the design already, and I don't need to be there beforehand and stake everything. So, and then also, of course, reducing the amount of people running around on the site. I think that's a very good thing with machine control.
Thank you very much. That was the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching.